single day, I'm gonna make something great.
Hey, welcome to Tomorrow again. Please like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already subscribed, and share this video. You never know who might need to hear some of the messages. I wanted to talk to you guys about what it's like growing up psychic, what it's like for children who are psychic, and perhaps one of your children or one of your grandchildren could be very much psychic. And chances are, if they are, you probably know. You probably figured there's something about them that stands out as different. Now, I would advise to please listen to them. Please believe them. No matter how bizarre it might sound, just listen to what they're saying. Also, sometimes a child, may come across as exaggerating, and that's what I was accused of a lot as a child from different sources. I would get kind of weird looks from different relatives because of some of the things that I would say. And also my sister. My sister, may she rest in peace, she was very psychic as well. We grew up together. It was just the two of us with our younger brother. And we always seemed to know things beforehand. My sister, her abilities seemed to even include her dreams. My sister could dream things, verbatim, exactly the way they would end up happening. I never had that kind of strong ability. I have at times dreamed things that ended up happening, but not as strong as she was. And I think my strong point was I just had a way. And even now, as old as I am, it's hard for me to say this because I'm so used to people looking at me, sort of giving me that side-eye look. But there's a lot, you guys, that we don't know about death. There's a lot we don't know. There's a lot more understanding to come about what death is, as in particular, death of our spirit, our essence, sort of our personality. That part of us does not die. The body itself ceases to function. That's obvious. But a part of us, a deep part of who we are, begins to understand the departure from Earth's plane. And for anyone out there that has been really, really sick, or been in a position where you felt like your life was leaving you, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know the way your body starts to communicate with other parts of your body. And I know that sounds absolutely crazy. One time soon I will make a video, I promise, and I will talk about that a little more. But right now I wanted to talk about the things, the struggles that kids go through being psychic, even with their peers, even with their teachers. And if you can imagine knowing something or experiencing something in your mind's eye, and then it happens, or you experience something in your mind's eye and it happens, and you have to live it twice. And that is very, very stressful. But the older you get, you begin to understand what's going on. You begin to learn just from living. You begin to learn how to try to cope with it. But as a parent, as a caregiver, even as a teacher, as a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, even a sibling, please listen to your child and please believe them. Very rarely will a child just willy-nilly make up stuff over and over and over again. And even if they are, it doesn't hurt to listen to them. It doesn't hurt to acknowledge that you understand what they're saying, that you're listening to what they're saying. After saying all of this, you guys, it's story time. When I was about 5 years old, I remember this day like it was yesterday. We lived across from our school, our grade school, when I was a kid. There was where we lived, there was a fence, and then there was a school. You didn't even have to cross the street. You just walked through the gate and there you were on the school grounds. I went to school feeling pretty fantastic. And I remember my grandmother, when I was a kid, my grandmother always cut my bangs going straight across my forehead, and I absolutely didn't like it. But this particular day, she allowed me to wear my hair just kind of a different way, and it just really made my day. It made me very happy. And I remember walking to the school. I can still smell the paint that they used on the walls and even on the floors back in those days. Part of the floor had gray paint. It was painted gray. And I still can smell the smells coming from the cafeteria. Smelled like homemade food. Just, you can imagine your most favorite meal being prepared. And the sunshine somehow had managed to come inside the school building. I was in a fantastic mood. Talking about walking on air, I was. I remember walking up the stairs because my school had 3 stories. And by the time I got to the 2nd floor and I opened the doors that led to my classroom, I began to know that I was in the middle of an armed robbery. I began to know it. I didn't think it. I knew it. I knew it had already happened. And I went in my classroom, and then the sunshine went away. All I could hear is my teacher's voice explaining to the class about an assignment. And then we had recess. The bell rang. Everyone went down the stairs and outside, and I told my classmates, a couple of my classmates, that I had been in the middle of a robbery. They were fascinated. They told other classmates, and then those classmates told my teacher, and then my teacher eventually told my grandmother that I was involved in a robbery, in the middle of a robbery, and was everything okay? And my grandmother, of course, told her I was not involved in any robbery. That never happened. So, of course, my teacher believed my grandmother, which I guess I don't blame her. Maybe, if I didn't know, maybe I would have reacted the same way. So that day came and went, and summer began. And we went, as we usually did, to East St. Louis, Illinois for part of the summer. And we visited our cousins and our aunts, and we just loved being there around our family. And then one day in particular, my aunt wanted to go to the grocery store, and she wanted my sister to go in with her. And my grandmother and myself, we sat in the car. And so back in those days, they didn't have cell phones. So if you were sitting in a car waiting on someone in a grocery store, you wanted them to pick up something, you couldn't just, dial them up. You had to go into the store and actually ask them. Well, my grandmother was tired. She didn't feel like going into the store, so she sent me in the store. And so I got out of the car, and I remember walking between 2 cars, and then I saw these 2 men who were standing at the counter in the grocery store with guns, and then they were shooting. I could hear the gunshots. They were shooting, and I heard people screaming, and I ducked. I only ducked because someone told me to duck. It was a woman's voice. She told me to duck, get between the cars. And I remember I wanted to look up and see what was going on. And my grandmother was trying to get out of the car. She was crouching low, and she was calling me to come to her, and she told me to crawl. And I said, okay, I just heard you. She said, no, just come on. And we got in the car, and both of us put our heads down. And then eventually my aunt and my sister came out of the store. My sister was very upset. The lady at the checkout and the manager and owner of the store were both shot in the head. And this happened right in front of my sister and my aunt. And I remember when they eventually came out of the store and they got into the car, they just all kind of looked at me like, okay, so it did happen. This is a true story, you guys. It's one of my earliest memories of seeing something before it happened. And I just wanted to, once again, I'm kind of digressing. I don't know if the robbers ever got caught. I really don't know whatever happened, but right now, if they were still living, they'd be like 70, 80 years old. So anyway, I hope, this encourages anyone out there who is around a child who might have these sort of psychic abilities and have psychic dreams and are seeing so-called ghosts and spirits. Please believe them. This is Tomorrow again. Wishing you guys the best of the best. Enjoy your day. Love one another. And remember, love always wins, no matter what. Thanks.